Welcome. Today I will be paraphrasing, summarizing, and sharing for the July 9th Al-Anon readings in Courage to Change and a Little Time for Myself. We'll begin with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I'll take a moment and look this over. The question is, what are some of the ways I find common ground with those around me? And the passage talks about tradition 1, which is our common welfare should come first. Personal progress for the greatest number depends upon unity. So this person relates it to sitting in traffic, like at traffic lights, but how it's for the greater good because it keeps everyone safe, theoretically, as long as people heed the traffic lights. This person says they craved community when they came to Al-Anon, and over time they saw that everyone was seeking serenity, and this person found it very powerful, that kind of unity. This person found it very powerful. And the person says tradition 1, the principles of tradition 1 is why we all belong. Today's reminder: when we see what we have in common with others, it helps us to understand that we're all equals. Despite our differences, we remain equal. I love that. That's like one of my core values as a human being. I truly believe that. The quote is from Discovering Choices, Recovery, and Relationships. Tradition 1 has a commitment to unity and helps promote healthy relationships. What are some of the ways I find common ground with those around me? I just see that we're human. How do I find common ground with those around me? Like I just truly believe that we're all just doing our best, and that we all have stories to tell. We all have our own experiences. When I think about the complexity of the human body and how every one of us is in a human body, and talking about people, obviously not even talking about animals and nature and everything else. But when I think about that, think about the complexity of just a single human being, and then think about all the time that I'm in a space with lots of different people, like when I'm volunteering, when I'm at the grocery store, when I'm driving, I can get like my mind blown, because I just think about, that's a lot of complexity. That's a lot of stuff going on every second of every day. So I don't know, that just, to me, that just, like just that right there makes me feel a huge sense of common ground. Um, what I find challenging is when other people are not in that headspace and they're just taking things to a very superficial level. Like when I hear people talking about things and they've got their heels dug in over it and they just feel really, really strongly and, they're gonna, I want to say, die on that hill. That's just a saying that I've heard recently. Like, that's the hill they're going to die on. Like, they just feel so strongly about it that they're just relentlessly determined to get their point across or to get their way. That is hard for me to deal with because that person is not seeing, in my opinion, that person is not seeing the common ground, the basic humanity. I don't know. That happens to me too. When I get really upset over something, sometimes I lose my perspective. And I feel like if I could just remain calm and think about unity, think about how we're all connected no matter what. I feel like if the general population had that frame of mind, like we'd be able to work out anything. Wouldn't that be amazing? Ah, because I do feel like human beings do have like the capacity to do absolutely anything. I mean anything. I'm talking world peace. Like we do have the capacity, but there's just so many different things getting in the way of different people. I don't know. I don't know. But I try to keep it simple. There's only so much, I can only control so much. We can all only control so much. And so, like I say all the time, I just try to do my part by trying to be gentle and easy and calm and kind and loving. And that's all I can do. So that is what I do. And I will just take a moment to look this over. This is about being realistic, facing the whole, like the good and the bad, so that we can make realistic choices for ourselves and reduce our disappointment. They're talking about sharing in Al-Anon being a very important tool. When we share what's really going on, we uh, reduce our denial and um, and connect with reality. Even though there are things that are difficult to face, when we do face what is reality, we actually deal with less disappointment because we're dealing with truth, I guess. It says, what it's saying is that denial is devastating, is what it's saying. Today's reminder, we have to acknowledge things before we can cope with them. And that leads, when we do that, that leads to a more manageable life. And the quote is from Henry David Thoreau. It's talking about having solid foundations. I'm just thinking that reality, like you, it, I'm just thinking about how reality can be different depending on your perception. Like me and my partner live in the same house, but my reality could be different from his reality. Uh, Here's like a really silly example. Um, my partner was just outside painting the deck, and it's getting really hot outside. And so he came inside. He was like a giant sweat ball, and he said, "I'm going to turn on the air conditioner." And I said, "It's still comfortable in the house." And he said, "It's very hot outside and I want to get ahead of it." So it was like, okay, fine. Like, do what you need to do to be comfortable, do what you want to do. But like, we're in the same house, we're in the same air. I'm fine and he's, uncomfortably warm. That's like a really kind of superficial, like very low level example. But I'm just saying that, like, me and my brother grew up in the same house. I had a terrible experience with my stepfather, and my brother liked my stepfather. So our stepfather treated us very differently. But, like, that's another example of, like, two different realities, but being very close together. So when I'm reading this, I guess what I'm thinking is just that it's important to, like it says, sharing in meetings is very important. I would say that that's one of the most important pieces of this reading because um, that helps to figure out what the truth really is. What is really going on? When I talk to, and of course the two examples that I gave really don't apply to this maybe. Um, like the air conditioning, definitely not. Maybe the stepfather thing, because like I could have doubted myself because nobody else saw what was happening. It was only happening to me, which made it very easy to keep it quiet for many, many years because it was only happening to me. And if I didn't say anything, nobody knew except my stepfather. And of course, he wasn't going to say anything. So I do remember talking to my sponsor about it and saying, "Am I crazy? Like, was that inappropriate?" And my sponsor saying, like, "Oh my God, yeah, that was very, very, very inappropriate." So, so I get that. That's really good. So I guess I'm totally on board with what this is saying. I just had to think it through because I'm thinking, like I said, reality is a matter of perspective and attitude and all those things. But when you talk to someone who understands you, who you are, even if you talk with a neutral party, like say you're new to Al-Anon and you just share at a meeting, sometimes we say things during our shares that are like are we don't even know we're going to say them, and we say them, and then afterwards it's like, I can't believe I said that, but is it true? And then it's like, well, my gosh, I think it might be true. So it's like, excuse me, this energy takes over and it helps us to see what's really going on and like what we need to do. I find that's true. so much of the time. That's happened to me many, many times. So, awesome reading. As usual, we'll close out with the serenity prayer and 3 mindful breaths. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Sending you love. Take care.